Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a campaign in smrtDialer. Now, once you have smrtDialer, you're going to want to set up your campaigns. And I normally suggest that you try and make the campaigns as specific as possible. So if you've got different lists, break them up into different campaigns so that you can track what you're doing with what. So in order to set up a campaign, you simply go to smrtDialer, go to campaigns, and click the new campaign button. Now, when we go to add a new campaign, obviously we're going to give it a detailed name. So I'm going to call this smrtDialer documentation campaign. Normally, I would call it the lists that we've uploaded, or if it's a follow-up campaign that's working on active leads, I'd call it, Jordan's 30-day follow-up or Jordan's today's follow-up, depending, right? And you can, of course, give a bit more context here. Sometimes very useful if you've got a lot of things going on, just so you can put in details of the list you bought, where you bought it from, whatever. Just nice to have so that you know exactly what you're looking at. Now, the next thing you're going to do is set the caller ID that you're going to use to make the calls. And so this is the number for this campaign, and it can be different for each campaign, this is the number you're going to use to call. The next you can do is you're going to set up the number of lines you call. Now, this is only applicable if you've got the multi-line dialer. But if you do have the multi-line dialer, you can do 1 up to 4 lines at once. And that means that this number is the number of phone numbers, that's a lot of numbers, that you're going to call at the same time. So with 4, I'm going to load up 4 numbers, and I'm going to call them all at once and to see who picks up first. Now, phone number depth is particularly applicable when you're talking about a skip trace lead where you may get quite a few numbers per lead. The depth is basically the how many numbers we're going to look at per lead in Podio. So if I pop over here quickly and I look at a lead, you can see I've got 3 here. So that's the depth. Here I have 3 numbers for this lead. So as long as my depth is greater than 3, I'm going to try and call all of these numbers. So in this case, if it's a cold calling list, I would probably put it pretty high if you've skip traced it. But if it's a follow-up lead, you usually can put it relatively low. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. It's just one of those things that it's nice to adjust based on the type of campaign you're doing. In this case, I'll just put it up at 5. Now, in an earlier video, I mentioned that there were 2 recordings you had to record before you started moving on to campaigns. And these are the voicemail recording. That is what we will automatically drop when we detect an answering machine, or you can manually drop it yourself. And this is you leaving a voicemail recording. And the callback drop, which is what happens when you've got a multi-line dialer and somebody picks up, your agent gets connected, and the next number, one of the next numbers answers. Well, instead of giving just a beep, we like to play a little recording where you can let them know that you're going to try and call them back. So here, this is directly from our media manager, which you can access and manage here. I'm going to select the voicemail drop, which is this, and I'm going to select the callback drop, which is this, and then I'm going to select what hold music I want to use as well for when they're on hold. And that is the first step of the setup, setting up your adding your new campaign and setting up the kind of core smartphone details.